welcome back to Forewarned, Forearmed. Today's episode we're going to cover what I said we would cover in the last video, which was the ANZAC list for Team Yankee. So, I really do like the ANZAC lists for Team Yankee, especially the formations that they did get offered in the new NATO book, which is the trials formation for the Lavs. For those American players out there, it is probably a bit of a sore contention, as it's sort of like the song, whatever you can do, I can do better, in regards to the Lavs for the Australians. So, it probably is a bit of a sore point for American players out there to see that, you know, the Lav formation that they get, yeah, you get some decent AT in there, but let's be honest, the Australian Trials Lavs formation is everything the Americans would want in their formation. They get AT, they get tanks, and they get better mortars, and they also get a decent infantry unit. So, that's everything that you get in the live trials formation for this list. So, the list that I've come up for is 95 points. The reason why I've been doing 95 points lately instead of the stock standard 100 points is what we get here normally in Australia, is because that's what is deemed the tournament points list for Team Yankee in most BF recognised tournaments. So that's the 95 point mark, which is why I've done 95 points. So in this list, I have got two formations. The first formation is the M113 Mech Inf. Great infantry units, really good, APCs, aka buckets. I really love buckets. They're a great versatile unit in the game, especially with a T50 turret. You can't go wrong with the amount of shots that these guys pump out for machine guns, especially with the 50 cal/30 cal. The other great thing about this is cheap mortars. Never leave home without mortars. Mortars are a great asset for any NATO player or any fortune that's going to be playing elite formations. Say, for example, West Germans with their Panzermortars. Mortars are critical for what they are. It's like if you're looking at other arty units, you're looking at anywhere from 6 points to 8 points for other units within the ANZAC list, which is the Abbots and the 109s. So, what I've done is I've got the two formations. So I've got my HQ and two platoons min for what I need for the bucket list, as I like to call it. And then you've got two Milan 2 sections in there, as well as a mortar platoon. So that rounds out the mech infantry formation. So it makes it a very decent formation where I can have my two units sitting on objectives, backed up by my two Milan units, which can go after armoured targets. Now don't forget, you do have Carly Gustavs, or Charlie G's as I like to call them, along with 66ers or the Laws. So, on top of that, you can get rid of most really low tier MBTs like T55s and T62s up close with the infantry. And that allows you to concentrate on the bigger stuff like T80s, M1A1s, Charlies, and Leopard 2s with the Milans. No issues there, popping those, especially with AT-24. Then that leads into the second formation, or as I like to call it, anything you can do, I can do better. So that gives me the HQ, 3 units of 4 Lavs, plus the M1A1s. I think this formation, you could probably, if you had the points, the extra 5 points, you'd probably want to bump it up with some extra mortars in there as well, just to make that formation a little bit more stronger. And then rounding out is the obligated anti-aircraft, which is the RBS-70s. Now, most people would probably think, why take RBS-70s over Rapiers? You have machine guns on the RBS-70s. So you do have a weapon that's capable of defensive fire, but that won't run away. And that's things to remember in regards to the Milans and the mortars for the infantry. They don't have a counter-attack. So the Milans will assault, but they don't have a counterattack, so you got to break off with the Milan teams. The same with the mortars. They don't have a counterattack or an assault, so they have to break off. So don't go try and assault people with mortars, because it's just no go. So that rounds out the unit quite well. Now, if I was playing this list, I would probably look at maybe doing either attack or maneuver. Now, considering I have to reserve 38 points, my M1s are pretty much a one drop, so I could probably use that plus my HQ for the buckets if I wanted to for the infantry, just to make up the 38 points. If not, you could probably, if you're really desperate, you could probably do one of the HQs for the Lavs or a Lavs troop. So, the list rounds out really well. I really like it. But there are a few things to remember. Australian infantry don't have the British assault rating, but they do have the counterattack rating. So they can counterattack, but their assault's a 4+. The morale for them is a 4+ as well for pinning. So that's another thing. If you do get your Milan teams pinned, 50-50 chance that they're going to stay pinned for most of the game. And that's the reason why I've taken 2. Otherwise, I probably would drop the Milans for maybe some extra infantry and maybe some mortars, just to bump those out a bit more. But that's up to you. So that's my take on the ANZAC list for Team Yankee. So I really do hope you enjoyed my take on the ANZAC list. I know I really haven't invested some time and effort into these. We'll be bringing you some work in progress shots, hopefully, throughout the year of the army that I'm building, because I do also have quite a few leopards on the go as well, so I can do pretty much every single formation from this book, bar the New Zealanders. So thank you once again for joining me. Big shout out to all the subscribers that are joining the channel, and if you like or wish to see more content, please click and like, subscribe, and please share it with your friends. Good hunting.